Something massive is about to hit the Marvel timeline, and almost nobody is prepared for it. Avengers Doomsday is hiding a twist that rewrites everything we think we know. I am Jack Baker, and this is JackVerse. Today we break down a quiet reveal tied to the Russo Brothers that could expose Dr. Doom in a way Marvel has never done before. Stay with me, because the answer to this mystery is not where fans are looking. And yes, this detail was absolutely not accidental. Marvel insiders are pointing to February 12th as a pressure point. Empire magazine is releasing a dedicated Avengers Doomsday issue. And historically, these releases are never random. They quietly shape expectations months in advance. The Russo brothers are confirmed to speak directly, which means controlled information. No spoilers, but calculated clues. This is the same playbook used before Infinity War and Endgame, and every time it changed the narrative before fans realized it. Here is what everyone assumes, that magazine interviews are just hype pieces, but that is not how Marvel uses them. Empire is where costume reveals happen, tone is established, and visual language is introduced. Leaked set photos of Kevin Feige and Robert Downey Jr. posing like editorial shoots strongly suggest this content was created for this issue, meaning Marvel's preparing audiences visually before they explain anything verbally. Based on past Avengers coverage, we are likely getting partial costume looks, possibly full silhouettes, and maybe even the first controlled tease of Dr. Doom. Not a reveal, a suggestion. Marvel prefers implication over confirmation. Runtime details could also surface, and with a cast this massive, the focus will likely stay on scale and thread rather than plot, which is exactly how Marvel hides its biggest secrets in plain sight. As we dig deeper, you will see why this reveal connects to a much bigger twist later in the story, one that redefines how Doom operates in the MCU. And if you enjoy catching these hidden setups before everyone else does, this is the moment to support the channel by liking and subscribing to Jack. Because what comes next explains why Avengers Doomsday is playing a much longer game than fans expect. Now let's address the Super Bowl question, because this is where expectations and reality split. Reports suggest Marvel is not planning to drop an Avengers Doomsday trailer during the Super Bowl. But history tells a different story. Similar reports surrounded Captain America Civil War, and yet a short tease still aired. Marvel often denies big moments to protect surprise impact. So while nothing is guaranteed, silence does not equal absence, and that uncertainty is part of the strategy. Marvel's smartest move right now is restraint. Fans expect spectacle during the Super Bowl, so withholding footage lowers the noise and shifts attention elsewhere. If something does appear, it instantly dominates conversation. And if nothing drops, Marvel loses nothing. This tactic keeps focus on long-term build-up rather than short-term hype, and it aligns perfectly with how Avengers Doomsday is being positioned as a slow-burn event rather than an explosive reveal cycle. Here is where things get interesting. A new insider detail suggests a twist so subtle most fans missed its importance. Dr. Doom will never remove his mask in front of the MCU heroes in Avengers Doomsday, meaning no Avenger ever realizes he looks like Tony Stark. That single choice changes the emotional structure of the film, because it delays reactions that fans assumed would be immediate, and it reframes Doom as a distant, untouchable force. At first, this feels strange, because you would expect characters like Steve Rogers to react instantly. But this is intentional storytelling. By keeping Doom masked, Marvel avoids forcing explanations too early. It preserves mystery and prevents the Tony Stark connection from dominating the narrative. Instead, Doom becomes mythic, feared, and unknowable. And that makes his presence heavier, colder, and more dangerous throughout the entire film. Here is the key distinction. According to the same report, the audience will briefly see Doom without the mask, but the heroes never will. This creates dramatic irony. Viewers know the truth, while characters do not. And Marvel has used this technique before to build tension across multiple films. It keeps fans engaged while protecting the larger payoff, because when that truth finally comes out, the emotional impact will hit harder than any early reveal ever could. Now here is the exception that explains everything. Dr. Doom does remove his mask around the Fantastic Four. Reports confirm Doom and the Fantastic Four share history before Avengers Doomsday begins, which means trust or familiarity already exists. This is why the Thunderbolts post-credits scene matters so much. Doom is selective, calculated, and intentional. He controls who sees his true face, and that selective vulnerability makes him more dangerous than a loud villain ever could. Multiple insiders have now aligned on one detail. Steve Rogers is present on the Fantastic Four ship with Doom, yet even there Doom reportedly keeps the mask on, which reinforces the idea that Doom chooses power over connection, even with heroes he respects. This choice keeps his scars hidden and his image intact, and it mirrors classic comic lore where Doom's pride is stronger than any alliance, friendship, or temporary cooperation. In the comics, Doom's mask is not armor alone. It is identity, shame, and obsession combined. The scars on his face represent failure he cannot accept, so hiding them is not weakness. It is control. Marvel leaning into this detail shows restraint and respect for source material. Instead of turning Doom into a shock reveal machine, they are shaping him as a psychological threat, someone who dominates rooms without raising his voice or showing his face. Another detail that changes perception instantly is Doom's voice. Insiders confirm Doom speaks with a distinct accent, meaning he does not sound like Tony Stark either. This removes another obvious clue from the hero's perspective. Fans questioned if Marvel would drop the accent like Scarlet Witch, but this confirms commitment. Doom will not look or sound like Tony in Doomsday, and that separation is intentional to delay the bigger answer. This decision connects directly to long-term storytelling. Marvel reportedly does not explain why Doom looks like Tony until Avengers Secret Wars. By keeping heroes unaware in Doomsday, there is no reason to address it yet. This allows the reveal to land when the multiverse collapses emotionally and narratively. And that timing matters, because the truth about Doom is not just visual. It is meant to break characters and audiences at the same time. What makes this twist feel real is how many separate sources are now saying the same thing. John Campea has hinted he heard extensive details about Doomsday, and his comments line up perfectly with what other insiders are reporting. When multiple independent voices echo the same structure, it usually means Marvel has locked the plan. This is not a late rewrite. This is intentional design meant to stretch across Doomsday and Secret Wars together. Most fans assumed the Tony Stark connection would be a headline moment in Doomsday, a shocking reveal that drives the entire movie. But Marvel is doing the opposite. They are removing that reaction completely. And by doing so, they are forcing the story to focus on Doom as Doom, not as a reflection of Iron Man. And this restraint is exactly what allows the emotional payoff to survive later without feeling rushed or overused. One moment fans keep imagining is Peter Parker coming face to face with Doom, seeing Tony Stark's face staring back at him, and realizing what that means. But that moment is being saved. And that alone tells you how important it is. Marvel does not delay emotional bombs unless they plan to detonate them at maximum impact. And Secret Wars is the only stage big enough to hold that kind of reaction. Now let's shift to Spider-Man, because something else fell off until now. Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man has been completely absent from Doomsday talk, while Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland dominate rumors. That silence was never accidental. Insiders now confirm Andrew Garfield is not part of Doomsday, but is being positioned for a much larger role later. And that explains why Marvel stayed quiet for so long. Reports now state that Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield all return in Avengers Secret Wars with major roles, not cameos, and this was always the logical move. Spider-Man No Way Home proved how powerful that trio is. Marvel understands the emotional equity there, so separating their appearances across films allows each return to feel earned. And it prevents repetition while amplifying anticipation for the final collision. From a storytelling perspective, this structure makes perfect sense. Avengers Doomsday establishes Doom as an unstoppable presence, while Secret Wars delivers emotional resolution. Bringing all three Spider-Men together again is not nostalgia bait. It is payoff. Marvel knows the audience emotional investment is highest when characters reunite after long absence. Spacing their returns across films keeps energy high and avoids fatigue while building towards something truly monumental. Current reports suggest Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man appears in Avengers Doomsday while the other two are held back. And that choice is deliberate. Tobey represents legacy, history, and experience, placing him in Doomsday grounds the chaos with familiarity. While saving Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield allows Secret Wars to feel like a multiversal convergence rather than just another crossover, every Spider-Man serves a specific narrative function. Here is where a theory meets setup. When Doom creates Battleworld in Secret Wars, the comics establish that most heroes forget their past lives. They only remember Doom as their creator. This memory reset explains why revealing Doom's true face too early would weaken the story. Because recognition cannot exist if memory is erased. Marvel is clearly aligning cinematic logic with comic mechanics to preserve internal consistency. But here is the detail nobody talks about. Spider-Sense might resist Doom's memory control. All three Peter Parkers could feel that something is wrong, even if they cannot remember why. That instinct could become the spark that exposes Doom's lie and restores reality. If Marvel uses this angle, it turns Spider-Man into the emotional key of Secret Wars. Not just a fighter, but a truth detector in a broken world. Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man carries unresolved trauma, loss, and growth, which makes him uniquely positioned for a story about fractured realities. Bringing him back only in Secret Wars gives that arc space to breathe. Excluding him would have felt like a betrayal. But including him at the right moment elevates the entire narrative. This is not fan service. This is character-driven payoff, built on patience. When you step back and look at the full picture, Marvel is not hiding Doom. They are refining him. By removing visual and vocal clues, they turn Doom into an idea rather than a man. Something felt before it is understood. This approach makes him scarier, because fear of the unknown always lasts longer than shock. And this detail was not accidental. It is how Marvel is future-proofing its most important villain. This is why the Empire magazine issue matters more than it seems. It is not about spoilers or reveals. It is about tone, framing, and controlled perception. Marvel is preparing audiences subconsciously, showing scale without answers, power without explanation. When those images drop on February 12th, they will shape expectations quietly, and only later will fans realize they were looking at the foundation of something much bigger. For fans, this means patience will be rewarded. Doomsday is not designed to answer every question. It is designed to unsettle, to make things feel off, to plant doubt. If you feel like something important is missing while watching it, that is intentional. Marvel wants you leaning forward, questioning motives, and waiting for Secret Wars to connect every thread into one emotional payoff. My prediction is simple. Avengers Doomsday ends without emotional closure. Doom remains masked, powerful, and distant. Spider-Man connections stay unresolved, and the audience is left uneasy. Secret Wars then detonates everything at once. The face reveal, the memory collapse, the emotional confrontations, especially Peter Parker. That delayed reaction will hit harder because Marvel resisted the easy moment earlier. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you like Marvel delaying the Doom reveal? Or do you think they should address it in Doomsday? What do you expect from the Empire magazine release? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more deep dive Marvel theory content like this, like, subscribe, and support the channel. This is Jack Baker, and you are watching JackVerse. See you in the next one.